Okay, so this is going to be a really raw and vulnerable reading. Okay, I don't do a lot of stuff like this because I'm not very vulnerable within myself. Okay, so I have the education, right? I have the emotional intelligence, and I have the ability to like observe my environment sometimes, not all the time actually, which coincides with my vulnerability because I have the ability to observe it, but I don't really integrate my understanding with it. Okay, what do I mean by that? So I mean I mean that I'll observe my environment and I'll say, dang, this kind of sucks. I'll observe my environment and I'll say, I really need to be okay with, the fact that I've come so far and I have so much, okay? Because, okay, so in that sense, I'm basically my own narcissist, okay? And this is crazy. This is crazy. Let me get into it. Because I've come so far and I've been with people and I've experienced others that make me feel really bad about myself. Hang on. Okay. My live is always messing with the chat. Okay. So, to come so far and experience such, I'm gonna just say like shitty encounters with people. I feel that I've gotten to the point where, I mean, not only did it make me feel like I abandoned them, it made me feel like I'm the bully and I have to be by myself. And I'm speaking up about this because that's what I initially started my channel for, because I was feeling so alone from it. I initially started my channel because I wanted to delve into my vulnerability. And I kind of fell out of it because, I just was so focused on, hey, welcome in everybody. I was just so focused on doing the right thing. I was so focused on doing the right thing, being a good person, being okay where I am. And it got me to the point where I was just in my Capricorn energy because I'm always working, workaholic, do this, do that, always feeling like it's not enough. Always. Hi guys, welcome in. I hope everybody is keeping it cool, kind, and classy today. So, I just kind of got in this energy of, putting my blinders on and focusing on, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate you. It means more than you think. So yeah, putting those blinders on and then just kind of like becoming this version of myself that is solely invested in the future. And it played me. It played me, man. So I was so excited to just have my own space and be a comfortable version of myself. Be a comfortable version of myself. And I'm always on here just preaching the cards. Always on here preaching the cards. And they got like really good points. They got good points. And so I kind of have just been living off of that because okay, so here's what I was doing. So this is my card space, right? This over here is my card space. Like left. Okay, well, I'm not bringing the Bible in here. The Bible was handwritten by a man that was solely in desperation in order to get into touch with feeling better about his surroundings. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I know that's controversial. I know it is. That's okay. Y'all can take it how you will. But the Bible was not written by the universe. Okay? So, oh. And yeah, before you make the argument of, well, the Bible was written by somebody that the universe embodied. Okay, yeah, I get that. I do. But when I'm reading the Bible, I couldn't even get through the Genesis without feeling a factor of fear. Feeling a literal fear factor. The Bible is fear mongering. That's what that is. Hi guys, welcome in. Yeah, so anyway, this is the energy of distraction. This is the energy of distraction because I'm sitting here, I'm friggin' explaining myself. I'm explaining myself because people got something to say. So hi guys, welcome in. So good to have you. Yeah, so just kind of, I started building this channel on basically, being a better version of myself. And then I was missing the fact that I already was. I was missing the fact that I already was. It depends who's asking how old I am. It depends. Thank you so much, Paisley. You're so cool. You're so cool. So yeah, it was, and then I'm friggin' sitting here, I'm like, I don't understand why, like, people don't, mess with me very much. Like, it's frustrating because, like, I feel like deep down, I knew why, and I wasn't blaming anybody. I really wasn't. I just understood the fact that not everybody is going to resonate with my content. I do understand that. But, yeah, so, just trying to build my channel on something that I literally didn't initiate my channel for. I initiated my channel for vulnerability because about a year ago, if you have seen my videos, I was in a spot that was radiating stagnance. And it was so frustrating because I was trying to build, thank you, Dev. I was trying to build my channel on like proving that I can get better, literally. So it went from okay, I'm sick, I'm in an environment that's making me sick, and I can come out of it, man. And that's literally what my channel was made for. And then I went to, okay, so I escaped, I fled. I fled from my initial environment. And I know that, I feel like I held myself back because I didn't want to speak on it. And I didn't want to speak on the people that made me feel this way. I just didn't, okay? And it was a form of protection. I think I've been holding myself back as a form of protection for others. I don't know how I'd be lying. This is my story. If it doesn't resonate with you, go away. So, yeah, I just feel like, and that's what I'm talking about, because people don't want you to speak on it. That's just what it is. You could be mad. You could be mad, and that's the energy that you have to embody at the end of the day. Thank you. I know I'm funny, even though you're just hating on me. Isn't that so weird? Even if you're being sarcastic. I am. So, it's literally that of, I know who I am, and you could be mad. Okay, yeah, I'll be around. I make a live pretty frequently. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Anyway, Carson, I'm literally not here for you. I don't think I have ADHD. I think I'm just traumatized. I think I'm traumatized, and my brain is trying to rationalize an irrational experience. So I know I get asked that a lot. I get asked that a lot, but like this is literally and I know you're not hating on me, but this is that energy of like knowing yourself and like not necessarily like putting yourself in a box is the word I'm looking for, because I know I talk fast, I know I'm this, I know I'm that. I know I come off a certain way. I do. No, it's not offensive. I get it. Like, I would, if I if I literally wasn't in my brain, right? If I like wasn't myself, then I'd probably be like, what the fuck? Yeah, but it's just like this hyperactive energy of knowing who I am, and it's like radiating that. Because at the end of the day, we are not, we are not, um, we are not really like necessarily actually human beings. Okay, okay. Hold on, because we are descendants of the universe itself. Thank you so much. Paisley, I know you're coming from a really good spot, and I appreciate that. I know you're meeting me where you know how to, and it means a lot. But yeah, I don't really believe in the mental illnesses and the boxes. So when you're literally a descendant of the universe, like, and this is everybody, I'm not just like superiority complexing you. So this is everybody. And when you are a descendant of the universe, you're gonna be a little bit like, that's just what it is. That's normal. That is normal. And that's the thing. That is literally the thing. Because when we're growing up in a society of gray walls and watered down fast food joints, and I'm talking about like literal gray walls everywhere you look, and just like negating our women. I just heard that heavy. So when we're literally growing up in a society of that, it's really hard to sit with yourself and say, I feel myself. Like, I literally feel myself, and I feel bad for it because I know that people, don't approve of it. So then we continuously water ourselves down, and we continuously become this version of ourselves that is less than who we are, putting ourselves in a box, becoming something we're not, and trying to just really, trying to live a life that is full when we are not. Okay, so Moose, I am doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's just another day. Well, it's another day for opportunity. Am I right? That's what I mean by that. And as far as Grayson, okay, so how would Jesus, hypothetically, right? I'm not a Christian. How would Jesus feel if you were denying me and denying yourself of joy just because I'm not religious? What would Jesus say? What would he say? Okay, so that's the thing, because and that's another box we can place ourselves in as a Christian. So, we think that something is so high above us and we'll never be able to accommodate or meet it. I have been there. And I've never been religious, but I always had religious trauma. So I was always trying to meet this external thing, pedestalize this thing. I've never even met this guy. At the end of the day, Jesus is just another man. Jesus is another man. So it's like, I get really tired of people projecting onto me what they feel internally just because that was their end game. That was where they stopped. That was what they believe in, and they continuously pursue that into a stagnant box. So you're essentially at a point where where you're in a box and you are just trying to reprioritize this. Like, you're literally trying to convince yourself that you're okay with doing this repetitious thing that doesn't make sense to you. And I know that's controversial. That's okay. I'm not really here. I'm not really here to make people happy. Yeah, I mean, like, even if you were a Christian, like, I got no beef because like the line is where it's projected onto me to try to make me feel bad about myself and judge my perspective. That's like a whole nother thing. See, like, I won't get too into it because I'm getting distracted. But the thing about heaven is hell, and hell is that we live it now. When we die, we're just going to be a consciousness. When we die, we're just a consciousness. So right now, you got to decipher whether or not you want to be on heaven or hell. Whether or not you want to experience better or for worse. Okay? And I won't preach too heavy because I know you got your beliefs. But at the end of the day, it's all about incorporating the fullest embodiment of ourself in order to experience a beautiful human experience. That's literally what the universe is doing here. You know, we are y'all not ready. If y'all not ready, y'all not ready, but that's okay. But we are essentially fractions, very micro fractions of the universe experiencing itself. We are the creator. I mean, we are. So you go outside and you look at everybody around you. Everybody's doing something. Everybody's finishing something. Everybody's cutting ties. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing that. We are the creator. We are, as I said, fractions of the highest source. So we're always hating on ourselves because we feel like we can't get closer to God. We're always hating on ourselves because we feel like we can't, become God. But we are. We are just a universe that hasn't had an established memory of being what we were before we were in life. And because of that, we are not able to fully conceptualize what we were before we came here. But I do know because it's in my heart. That's just what's in my heart. And it's not in a Bible. It's not in a Bible. It's not something, and I've tried to read it, and it's so fear-mongering that I almost developed religious trauma all over again. I almost developed religious trauma on top of the religious trauma that I was already trying to incorporate my life with. Trying to establish, there's this thing above me and it's always watching me and it's always knowing what I'm doing. And, if I make a mistake, then that's it. And then I'm going to suffer. But that's literally a perspective that is encouraging suffering. Is like thinking that there's something above you that you can never meet. It's pedestalizing a being, okay? And because of this, you're pedestalizing something and you're spending all of this time trying to reach it. So think about when you're pedestalizing anything, pedestalizing anybody. Think about when you had a crush in high school and you were pedestalizing it. Okay, so you're meeting it, you're doing this, you're trying to be better, you're trying to be this, you're trying to be that. You're spending all of your time trying to be something you already are. So let's get back into this tarot. All right. Yeah, Grayson, I don't think we need to bring that in here, okay? We don't need to start talking about that and shaming people for their beliefs. And that directly correlates to exactly the fear-mongering that religious perspective can infiltrate other people with. Yes, okay. So anyway, I just want to switch up the energy again because that took me down like a whole different place. It felt nice to say that, it did, but but that's not what we're here for. Like Grayson, you can take that somewhere else. That's not for here. This is we're not shaming people in the comments. Because okay, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. You're distracting me. How would Jesus feel about that? How would Jesus feel about you making me trying to make me feel bad when I'm sitting here trying to do something? I'm literally trying to follow my life path. I'm trying to establish my perspective and connect what's it called? What's the word? Kind of like create, community. I'm trying to create community. So how would Jesus feel if you were distracting me from trying to create community? Okay? Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like at this point, because I've made my appointed opinion and I've established, what I feel. He's trying to change my mind a different way, and that's what a narcissist does. And religion can make you narcissistic. Okay, that's just what it is. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer, but yeah, I love to be the bearer because I'm not in that hold. I'm not in that mental hold, so I really like to be able to see it from the outside perspective. But okay. All right, I want to make sure. And I'm not a good card flipper, so they be falling sometimes. Like too many be falling. I can't keep up. But okay. So yes, let me speak the energy that I initially came here to speak over these cards. I think that's why I'm making mistakes. Okay. So basically what had happened was, yes, you're good, Paisley. Go live your life, man. So what I was saying is that yes, I initially built this channel on vulnerability, and it got to a point where I was building it to build it. I was just building it to build it because it felt nice knowing that I was building something, but I think that I was building it from a place of emptiness. I wasn't really building it from a place of I need more. Because that's why I started this channel, was to encourage myself to be okay with the fact that I do need more. Encourage myself to be okay with needing more. Not to take it away from myself. Not to ask myself why, I don't get as many subs. Right? And it's not that I care about, the specifics and the technicalities. But when you are making videos and your flow, this is beef I got with myself. When your flow is not, being meant and being reciprocated, then it's because your flow is coming from a place that is, probably not what you built it on in the first place. Probably not whatever you make and then you put into it and it gets a lot of encouragement and it gets a lot of notice. If you start to build it from a place of emptiness, then it's not going to get as much love, right? Okay, so yes, I do want to speak on a few things today, and I'm kind of just going to let the cards take me wherever the F, okay? Alright, so I like to flip, and then at a certain point, at a certain point, I just snap it. Okay, yeah, so I feel like, this directly relates to many of the points that I've made, because I kind of feel like, and I was just speaking on a splinter yesterday. I was just speaking on a splinter within your mentality that is creating a ripple effect of, unhappiness and stagnance. So this is basically, I feel like you are personally holding the wheel and you're trying to hold on to it as it's moving towards you. You're like, dude, I'm not ready. I can't balance myself. I can't come back to myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not gonna make other people happy because people don't make me happy. People don't. I feel like I can't even. Yeah, I feel like I can't even make myself happy. So I don't really want to let other people. I don't want to let people in to encourage my happiness because I feel like I'm not even happy in myself. So I'm not ready. I'm not ready to meet the people that are going to reciprocate me and fill my cup. Because I don't want them to meet this version of myself. I don't want them to see me in a stagnant and lacking area. So it's literally just, and there's more to this. Hang on. There is more to this. Okay, so basically, you know how abundant you are internally, and you're almost afraid to share it with others, because I feel like every time that you shared it with others, you were always taught that it wasn't enough. You were always taught that you didn't have enough to share. You were always taught that regardless of all the abundance you carry, it's never going to be enough to accommodate everybody around you and your environment and your career and your this and your that. So your worth has been directly correlated to how much you can work. It's been directly correlated to how much you can give. And I always say this because it directly relays back to you are filling the abundance and the cup of others through your karma, You have good karma. You have good karma, and you are afraid to receive it. Because first and foremost, you don't want to accept the way people made you feel. And I think this is a protection spell. I think it's a protection spell because you, and hear me out, because you have many people in your life and you see who they are. You see who they are, but you want to give them a fair fight and you want to give them a fair amount of space in order to like come back to themselves. Honey bun, they won't. They won't. Especially when you're waiting for it. That's some Bruno in the walls type stuff, okay? That's where Bruno went. That's where Bruno went. But I'm going to tell y'all that it's not too late. Like, you're, especially right now. You know, I always tell, like, I'm getting a little distracted, but older people who want to do something, I always say, you know, it's not too late. So to be here now and to be conscious at a young age, especially, you know, you have so much room to do things that you don't even know, to do things that you don't even understand yet, to do things that you might give yourself evil eye if you knew what you were capable of. So, okay, this is seriously consistent. It is insistent and consistent. So, within that perspective, right, of trying to work until you die, of trying to work until you get authorization from others, of trying to work until, you know, you get reciprocated. First of all, you've worked too hard already. You've already put in overtime. You've already, you know, stayed at the office till 2 a.m. So you've just been trying to put work into something that doesn't need to be worked on. You're literally trying to fix a vase that looks really good, like it's already not broken. You're trying to fix a stained glass window when you already took the pieces of your broken inner child and you piece them in a way that is beautiful. You know, it reflects the sun and it turns the sun into another frequency that, excuse me, is a whole different perception of what the sun can be, right? So you're really letting it go. And when people talk about let it go, let it go. They're not talking about like be the higher person and do this and do that and follow this strict set of rules that will encourage your better being. Because first of all, that just sounds very bleak. That just sounds bleak because it doesn't feel good to wait. It doesn't feel good to wait. And feeling good is so in sync with your highest self that it's almost hard to like feel good. It's almost hard to be okay. It's almost hard for things to be not hard. So yeah, you're initiating the process of, and if you haven't already, then you might be coming into contact with it. But you're really initiating the process of letting your past go, and not like forgetting it, but like letting it be as it is. Because I'm going to tell you that, you know, you might blame yourself for the abuse that you've encountered. You might blame yourself for encounters that you have experienced because you knew that part of you was attracting it. You might blame yourself from, you know, every relationship that didn't go good. But I'm going to tell you that a narcissist is a narcissist and an abuser is an abuser. So you don't have the choice whether or not you want to fall victim to it. And I'm not saying that you have to be a victim, but I'm saying that you have to be aware, be understanding, be in synchronicity with the idea that you have fled and grown from this abuse. Because it's not greedy. It's not selfish. It's not you excluding others. It's just you understanding that you have already done everything that you needed to. You've already done everything that you needed to. And you're trying to put yourself in a place of trying to do more because you're not happy where you are. So you're really starting to be okay with where you are. And you're starting to understand that there's not much that you can do from here. There's literally, like, you, when in doubt, the universe will put you in a position that you are physically powerless to show you how powerful you are internally. That's exactly what this is for. So yeah, you may feel like you don't have anything right now. You may feel really lost. You may feel, you know, like you're being stubborn. You may feel like you're being greedy. You may feel like you're pushing people away. But at the end of the day, you've just been hurt so much that, you know, you don't really want to put the energy in to be hurt again. So you've essentially entered this environment of, you know, what a hermit experiences, but I feel like you're trying so hard to come out of that hermit. Like it's like this weird crossroad. Like you're working on not being the hermit, but you are still in an environment that encourages being the hermit. So that's basically what's going on. So it's time to take back everything that was yours. Because to take back everything that is yours, to take back everything that resonates with you, to take back all of your blessings, to take back all of yourself, you know, doing that is essentially putting everything down that you've been carrying, because most of what you've been carrying hasn't even been yours. So to finally let it go and be okay with it is literally like you still got your hands on the wheel, but you're like slowly letting go. You're slowly saying, okay, you know, I don't want this. I don't want this. And yeah, so anyway, that directly relates back to the vulnerability that I was speaking on initially. Because to be so vulnerable with yourself, right? To be so okay with who you are, to be so understanding of, you know, yourself, and to encourage yourself and to talk to yourself in a way that is encouraging, is just a form of self-love that only comes with self-acceptance. Okay, so we're going to take these cards out. Okay, so you're literally putting yourself in a place. Ooh, you're putting yourself, this goes both ways. All right, the next card goes both ways. Because you're putting yourself in a place to be vulnerable and to feel weak and to feel like you don't have anything to offer, right? In order to finally assess your environment, assess your environment, assess the people you're surrounded with, assess yourself. The three things that can either make or break you. The three things that can make or break you. You are finally assessing it because you are finally letting yourself be vulnerable. You are finally letting yourself be human. Because you've always been taught that being a human, having human emotions, having human needs makes you the villain. Always. It's always been an issue. So you're finally understanding that it's okay to be vulnerable and to be that human in order to assess that you were not happy in your environment in the first place. Why would you want to accommodate an environment that does not accommodate you? Why would you want to do that? Because that's just showing the universe that you'll settle. So there's many ways of settling. Because, for me, I was really taught that relationships were a huge part of settling. I was really heavy on the idea that I'm not going to settle in any relationships because I slowly learned over time that I just wasn't getting my cup filled. I just wasn't happy where I was. I just wasn't getting what I needed. So I was slowly but surely falling out of all these relationships that weren't serving me. And because of that, I was also solely focused on the fact that I survived and I fled them. So now I was in this position for a really long time to just see that. To just see that I was smart enough to leave. To just see that I, had enough energy to just do that. And not understanding that there's more. Not understanding that there's other things to put your energy into. Not understanding that there's a whole future for me that will reciprocate me, that, I can radiate my energy to its fullest capacity, right? And I just wasn't really allowing myself to believe that because I wasn't allowing myself to believe, I wasn't allowing myself to believe that I got hurt initially. I wasn't giving myself space to, give others the space to have hurt me. I didn't want to admit that I got abused because it made me feel vulnerable. And feeling vulnerable is in direct correlation to being the human that I was trying to avoid being because it inconvenienced others. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was crazy. It was crazy. So, okay, so basically, you might feel really bad for your needs. You might feel really bad for your needs. And you might feel really bad about the fact that you have them. And you might feel really bad about the fact that you literally don't have the abundance to accommodate them. So you're literally being your own, abuser, in a sense. And I hate to say it, but you're kind of you've you've cut others off from having that space, and you said, if hypothetically anybody's gonna abuse me, it's gonna be me. So now you've isolated yourself in this shell of being your abuser because you know that giving that space to anybody else is automatically, the possibility of experiencing everything that you have up to this point. So you don't want to give anybody else that. But what I'm trying to say is that, to understand that there's more than that is the hard part after being abused. It's the hard part. It's the hard part after being abused to accept that you can still be happy. To accept that there's still more for you. To accept that you can still receive abundance. Because you kind of just tend to think that you're broken after you get abused. You tend to think that, you can't ever balance your equilibrium. You can never experience something that contributes to your highest self, that contributes to everything that you feel, that contributes to all of the truths that you've been laying down for yourself, and just kind of overall makes you feel a little less alone. You think that after you get abused, you can never feel surrounded by people who care about you again, because you have just this view of people that, it's really hard to get out of, because, okay, well, where were you when I was this? Where were you when I was that? So you grow from that perspective, and you say, well, I'm here for me. I'm here for me, regardless of the fact that, I don't know how to talk to myself, because I literally was told to talk to myself in a way that is self-deprecating. But, I'm trying my best to be here for myself, because I know nobody else is going to do it for me. So it's like you're literally overworking yourself to be here for yourself, because you don't want to put your human needs on anybody else. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. And you're not crazy, but that's fucking shitty, man. And 40 time, okay? Yeah, so I feel like you're crippling yourself in order to stay in this box, because you're literally outgrowing this box consistently. But you're forcing yourself to stay in it, and it's creating a lot of ailments, and it's creating a lot of mental ailments as well. But you're trying to stay in this spot because you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to teach anybody that you have so much more to live for than what they taught you. You kind of just want to make people feel like they did enough, but it's at what cost? Because now you feel like you're not doing enough. 41. So it's I feel like with the reflected numbers, the double numbers, you're kind of just genuinely starting to see yourself. You're starting to see yourself, and it's kind of scaring you that you're in an environment that really does not support that. You're afraid, and you don't want to admit that you're afraid because it's a human emotion. And you feel like it's inconvenient. Excuse me. You literally don't want to be an inconvenience, because you feel living in poverty and having nothing, or maybe you're emotionally unavailable, maybe you wake up every day and you feel empty. You feel like it's such an inconvenience to everybody around you. You feel like it's such an inconvenience to your significant other, or your potential significant other. So you literally are putting yourself in this shell in order to not hurt anybody. Because you've seen repeatedly that expressing your emotion always hurts people around you. It always makes people feel a type of way. It always makes people feel less than you. It always makes people feel inferior. So you're literally ducking yourself down and watering yourself down as to not make anybody else feel inferior. Even though simultaneously, people are telling you that you think you're too good for everybody else. When you are forcing yourself into a box because you know you're not. You know you're not. So be a human. Just keep being a human, really. It's okay. It is okay to be a human. Okay, yeah. So I just kind of feel like at this point... Okay, this one's come out too. Okay. This also wants to come out. Yeah, okay, that's it. That's all. Okay. So here's the thing. This is a story a little bit. I'm gonna do it one at a time so I can clarify. Okay. So you are slowing down. That's the best way to say it. You're slowing down. And you're incorporating a view that is of stability. You are radiating stability. That's the thing, because you're so hard on yourself for feeling like you're not enough, for feeling like you don't give enough, for feeling this, for feeling that, for just feeling 44, for just feeling. And so, okay, had to refocus. So yes, you are finally slowing down and you are seeing yourself from a perspective that is like, you're sitting in one spot with yourself. You're not trying to like go to the corner store. You're not trying to go, to your destination. You're not trying to get a car to get to your destination. You're not trying to go anywhere. So you're not basing yourself off of what you can do anymore. You're basing yourself off of what you already are. So you're really slowing down and you're really accepting it, right? And you're also accepting within that, and you are trying to display to your best ability within a negating environment that you have so much to give. You have such beauty and such abundance to give. But, you really sat back. Because you sat back and because you really looked at yourself from a perspective that is genuinely stable and grounded and not trying to go anywhere, not trying to do anything, not trying to be distracted, you are seeing that people around you have always used your abundance against you, have always used your abilities against you, have always tried to siphon off of them. And this is why. There's a reason that just came out. The reason that people want you to not see yourself is because as long as you don't see yourself, they can reap the rewards that your karma entails. And that is why. Like, people don't know that they're doing it. People don't know that they're doing it. So you try to take it easy on them because they're not exactly aware of what they're doing. Like, they don't know to the highest extent what they're doing, but they are, like, competing in spiritual warfare. So they don't really know that because ignorance is supposed to be so blissful, but 9 times out of 10, it's blissful because it blocks you from the truth. So they don't understand how much they're hurting you. They don't understand the fact that they negated you to an extent that made you feel less than yourself, and that literally made you try to run in order to find something that will make you feel better. Like, not that you're materialistic, but you thought that, like, if you could establish a house and you could establish a family and this and that, or maybe a career, especially for my Capricorns out there, we one and the same. So, to go out and try to establish, that the financial stability is exactly what you try to incorporate into your life to feel like, you had something to give. Because you're like, okay, if I'm literally just not enough for people, if my abundance literally just makes people want to fucking fight over me, then I'm just gonna go do something else. And within that, you have finally accepted that, just being in pain is okay. Like, not that it's great, but it's like, you're not like bullying anybody by being in pain. So you literally just, this is a consistent energy of, like, you just feel like you're never going to be able to be loved because you feel. When it's totally the opposite. Mind you, it's completely the opposite. Because at the end of the day, you just got made to feel like you have to sit in the cold. Like, you have to be isolated. Like, you have to be this. Like, you have to be that. Because people wanted to make you feel like your soul is not worth abundance. Literally that. Literally that. This card is talking to me too. Yeah, so they kind of wanted to... Okay, so the way that you see yourself with balance and worth, right? They wanted to throw it off because they didn't want you to understand that there's so much more for you. Because they were so busy siphoning off of your energy to feel confident within themselves. So you literally got to the point where you made a choice. And, you realize that nobody else is going to build this with you. And you started feeling like the fact that you wanted to build something was inconvenient to the world, was inconvenient to a significant other that you potentially could establish in the future. So you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to just build it myself. I'm just going to take everything on and I'm just going to do it myself. And then while you were in that perspective, you also started doing it for others because you knew that it was like an inconvenience to like lift things and do this and do that. So now you're just waiting for your abundance that already is, right? It already is, and you already are everything that you need. You just have to accept that, you know, you are so beautiful already, and you have to receive it. You kind of have to accept that you can heal. You kind of have to, and it's hard after abuse, but you kind of have to like really accept that you still have time to take your power back. And, you know, to do that is not excluding others, right? To do that is not halting, is not halting what others are capable of receiving. Because you think that if you take everything back, like, you are the source. You think that, like, you're the source. And I mean, in your hometown, like, that's probably a really good chance. Like, you probably do feel that way. And to just, like, take all of your energy back, you kind of feel like, you know, you are leaving people with nothing. But you gotta think, they are capable of establishing their own frequency, right? They are capable of establishing their own frequency and continuing on with it and radiating it and showing it and being it and moving with it. So you're literally blaming yourself for taking back something that is yours, that makes you you. Your soul makes you you. Like, that's you. And if you literally take your energy back, right? If you take your energy back and you incorporate it into who you are, and you allow others to be attracted to that frequency of you, because you're literally not getting the attraction, because you're not receiving your energy back. So you're not like attracting people of this frequency that are good for you, because you are not displaying that positive flow, right? So to just be this, just be it. You just gotta be it, man. And I understand how hard it is. I really get how hard it is. But the waiting, right? The waiting for your cup to be filled when there's nothing that people want to give you, it's gotta be over. It's gotta be over, because it's really time to stand in yourself. It's really time to be okay with who you are. And not just be okay with who you are, but thrive. Yeah. Yeah. So right now, it's just dependent on you packing your bags and packing your bags and taking all your things and just accepting that these people have chosen and these people continue to choose. Because at the end of the day, like, you might feel bad that people chose like a path that makes them feel bad about themselves, but like, to accept that they continuously choose it kind of like opens up a whole nother ballgame. Because to look at somebody and say, like, you know, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to make me feel bad about myself. You don't have to project your own emotions onto me. It establishes this line of, like, two beings that are being human. Two humans being. Like, two different humans being, right? Because you're always, like, trying to compensate. That's just what I'm getting. It's just what I'm getting. You're always compensating. So what kind of life would you be able to live if you stopped compensating and started just incorporating yourself? Started just being yourself. Started just doing your own thing. Started just, you know, allowing yourself to be happy within your energy. Because you're trying to, like, follow rules and regulations of conditional love outside of it. So you really, you know, you've taught yourself everything else up to this point,
But it is finally time to teach yourself how to genuinely love yourself. Because you chose yourself through it, you loved yourself the best you could, but now you have to teach yourself unconditional love. Because you're always trying to work to earn yourself. But all you have to do is just be yourself. That's it. So keep it pushing, y'all. Okay? Keep it moving. And try your best to, if you feel like you don't want to embody your full self yet, like try your best to just incorporate little fractions of yourself. Like, I used to like to draw horses, or I used to ride horses, or I don't know, horses coming up heavy, so maybe that's significant for you. But maybe it's just the freedom of it. I used to feel free. How can I do that again?